new week, and it is the 30th week of the Grunge Bible podcast. I am happy to be here with you. To all the listeners out there, I'm happy that you are choosing to spend some time with us for episode 30 of the Grunge Bible podcast. Ethan, how are you today?
Chris, I am doing well. I know I say that a lot, but yeah, I'm doing well. I'm even keel. I'm a good 7 out of 10 maybe. Yesterday was a little stressful for a bunch of different reasons, and it rained really hard physically, and I felt like it was also emotionally and spiritually raining. And but they say everything is a little clearer when the rain dries up. So today is a lot better. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm happy to be here doing a podcast. Nothing I like better than doing our weekly check-ins, one with each other, but also with the people that listen. And I was thinking about that. I would love to, we have the song of the week at the end, and we have our meat and potatoes, and we always start the same way. It's something that, it's the weekly check-in, which, it's always good to do with, your close friends. So I like that we have this weekly check-in that we can ask, like, Chris, how are you doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's really important. And, I think all good relationships have that element in them. And I'm glad that we're able to do this with, both with ourselves and with everybody listening. So, for me, I'm doing pretty well. I'm really tired, which once again, I feel like I say that a lot.
I know.
But otherwise, morale is pretty good despite that. I've been on the go. I did a lot of traveling this weekend, all over the eastern seaboard of the United States, and with a little pit stop up north for some shitty layover connections that I had with my airline. But otherwise, I'm feeling pretty good. As has been the theme this fall and really this summer, we've been doing a lot of things. We've been in the mix with a lot.
These listeners must be like, these guys just travel and bullshit.
We just blow money, man.
Yeah, they probably think we're millionaires. Like, oh, they're making a killing. They can do whatever they want. But that's just not the case. We just grunge it up and it's never as glorious as it sounds, trust me. No. But we do try to squeeze all the juice we can out of this thing called life, which I am a big fan of. And we did well. We had a great summer, and we really jam-packed the beginning of fall, but now we are pumping the brakes. I know we just talked about it. We're excited to get 8 hours of sleep, drink a lot of water, and practice our self-control and all
unmitigated discipline and all things.
Yes.
We need a little bit of that sprinkled in right now. I think I know I especially do. I've not been very kind to myself,
and that just might result in a more Pearl Jam on the page or something.
Yeah,
something
who knows?
Like
you never know what it's gonna bring. You get back to the roots, and next thing you know, you're just listening to Once by Pearl Jam every single day or something. But nevertheless, time moves forward, and we're happy to be here, and this is the 30th episode, and we have a nice announcement to make today, with this being our 30th episode. Episode 29 has brought us a new member of the top level Patreon supporters, and their name is Jamie Lynn, and for the first time we're going to read some fan mail live on air. So
long-time listener, first-time caller, first-time
contributor is Jamie Lynn here.
This is great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for this.
Yeah,
really.
This is great. And for everyone out there who's supporting the podcast, and if you're not, you should. A lot of people are joining up day in and day out at different levels, but especially the top level. Let us know why you're supporting us. Let us know what you like. Let us know when that moment was, as Jamie Lynn does here. So we got an email. The release date for last week's episode, and it was
pretty early in the morning too.
It was very early. It was like 7:30 in the morning.
I got the pledge. I got the notification pledge like pretty early, so it was like listen to it right when it comes out, which I love that.
Yeah. So anytime you get an email with the the subject box as "Take my money," it's going to be pretty good. So Jamie Lynn wrote us, and she said, "Quote: I finally did it. I became a Patreon member. I've been wanting to do it for months. But your October Fool's episode was so fucking entertaining and hilarious. I just had to finally commit. Y'all can have all my money. Just keep doing what you're doing. It is a great service to humanity, Jamie Lynn." So that's the new tagline for the podcast, a great service to humanity. I think for a while we were the top music commentary podcast in El Salvador. So that's one of our taglines. And then number 2 is a great service to humanity. So to Jamie Lynn, you are also a great service to humanity and to the Grunge Bible podcast, in terms of finances. So Jamie Lynn joins the legion of top level patrons that we have. You know their names well by now, but it's always important to recognize them.
Say their names.
They say my name. This is the day. This is the day here, as Porch has written in the past. And those individuals are Laura Nyreen, Marianne, Kayla Jean, Release, Sue, Alexis Shannon, Jade Mercado, Sonny Mashburn, Victor Schaefer, and Shannon Gorgone. So those individuals have a new friend, a new comrade in arms, and their name is Jamie Lynn. So to Jamie Lynn and to everyone else out there, we are very thankful.
I would say this podcast is dedicated to Jamie Lynn.
Yeah. The other cool thing about last week, Ethan.
What's that?
We're selling some merch, man.
Oh,
there were
yeah.
a lot of people have been picking up those Grunge Bible crew neck sweatshirts. It's starting to get cold. It's 55 degrees and rainy here, and I got a crew neck on right now.
Yeah, I got a crew neck on right now.
You got a crew neck on. I mean, there's one thing that will make your fall and winter better. It's a crew neck, and it's a nice crew neck. And Grunge Bible has crew necks in white and black. We also have winter hats. I'm a big fan of the wintertime beanie. Beanie scenario going on right there, and you put the headphones on, especially if you have long hair. I mean, that's a great look. Whether you're a guy or a girl, and even if you don't have long hair, you gotta get one of those going. So we received a lot of DMs last week, actually, of people saying like, hey, I'm picking up a sticker. I just ordered my shirt. I can't wait to send you guys a picture when I get it in. And totally, if you have merch, if you're looking to purchase merch, let us know. Let us know what you get. Let us know what you like. And when you get it, send us a picture. We love that. We'll repost it. We'll share it for the masses, and we'll keep this going. But thanks to everyone who ordered merch. And if you haven't, go check it out. Go to grungebible.com for the links. Yeah, there is still time, although time is limited, as all things are limited. So go and check that out.
And so is the merch. It could
go at any time.
Going out of business sale. We're trying to sell out, so see if we can get there.
Yeah, we're very good at selling out. So the merch is no different there.
That's funny. What do you think about selling out, Chris? No, I'm just kidding.
I will sell out for anything, man. I'll do it.
I do love that. You texted me, you're like, yeah, I posted something about merch and people are buying. Who would have thought? I'm like, wow, is that how it works? You post about it and people like I was like, oh shit, I guess that's how you sell things. You got to let people know.
If it isn't the consequences of our own choices.
well. If it isn't the bridge I said I'd cross when I get to it.
And now I'm here and we're crossing it.
It's so funny though. It's just great. Like, oh yeah, that's how it works. So we're trying to do our best to, we're just going to do better. That's exactly what we're going to do with all this stuff.
I mean, you buy some merch, you become a Patreon level at any of the 3 levels, and that'll help ensure that you get to listen to the meat and potatoes, which is coming right up now. Get into.
I mean, that's what, those things definitely are big motivations for us. Like when people are 100%. Counting on us, we know we got to up our game. So
because this is still out of pocket for us, and
believe it or not,
this is something that we're paying forward because I think, there's a lot of people that are enjoying it. So if you're enjoying it, return the favor, maybe a couple of bucks a month, or maybe a shirt or a sweatshirt, and a nice, nice message that you're liking what we're doing. We would really appreciate that. And that kind of it's not the greatest segue we've ever done, but it does lead into, the page and just different opportunities that we have. And I know something that we've been doing on the page for a while, our emphasis on it has ebbed and flowed, but I think one thing that everybody says they're interested in, and we're certainly interested in, is using the page as a tool to expose people to new bands or new music or artists that they may otherwise not know. Now, that can take many forms. A lot of people really enjoy when we get deep into the catalogs of some of these bands, or if we post some rare video from a show, or when so-and-so joined this band, on stage just for one time ever, So I think one thing that keeps people coming back to the page is discovery. And that's certainly one thing that, keeps me excited about running the page, is discovering new things, hearing new things, and just learning and just enjoying different types of music. So And that's one thing that I think as time has gone on, and Ethan, I'd love to get your opinion on this, but that's become something that I've become more and more interested in, is kind of exploring and branching out into not necessarily the older archival stuff, but newer bands and new musicians who are, being influenced by different things that we're influenced by, and taking it and making their own music that's, in that image or is inspired by that.
Yeah, I like to, I like to liken it when you go exploring. There's two types of exploring. You can go to, say, a national park that you've been to before, and you try the trails that you haven't tried before, which is like going to the old artists and be like, I've never listened to this album, so I'm gonna listen to it. But you're in a familiar territory. Yeah. And people are really, and when you're planning a trip, you want to go somewhere new, but you're worried that it might not work out. So you kind of go back to where and just play around in there. But so going to a new band, somewhere you've never been in, or exploring something you've never seen can be difficult.
It's like Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, exactly. And but there's usually when you do, every time I've done this with a band or actually like exploring in person, I'm always so like, oh, it was such a good decision to go out to and explore something I've never been a part of. So I really like that because I never know what to expect when I go like exploring for bands or start listening to a new band. And I always find that I do like, kind of dig into the archives, but I think me and you have likened to, checking out new bands and trying to, I don't know, maybe get a little bit bands that are maybe a little bit smaller scale that we can feel a little bit closer to when we do connect with their music.
Totally. And I think one thing that, as much as I kind of disregard it and downplay it, when people ask me about it or whatever, like the page is big. We have a lot of people who are following the page, whether it be, Facebook or Instagram, or hell, even TikTok at this point, or Twitter or what have you. So that's, with that following, with that community size, that does bring a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things. And I just really like the concept of, when we find things that we're inspired by, we want to share them with other people. And it makes me feel so good when I'll share, a smaller band or something that I like that I just heard. And sometimes people will comment. This just happened last week. I shared a band called The Circus Trees, and somebody commented, hey, I'd never heard this band before, but I just went and bought their vinyl from their Bandcamp because I like them so much. So thanks for showing them to me. And I think, this really started, if you go back to the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic in, I guess, March or April of 2020, where Ethan, you and I, we both had the idea to, run a series of virtual concerts for bands, because obviously at that point, bands were not able to play live shows. So I think the idea kind of happened organically, but, we decided to run the shutdown shows last year, and I think we ran about 22 shows, 22 weeks in a row for bands.
Like 3 months, straight. And I think, it's funny because, we are big in a way, but we also, I remember in the beginning, we tried to work with some bigger bands, and they weren't giving us, the attention. They weren't paying any mind. And so we started working with bands that would listen to us. And I think that's what really, that's what, that really kind of started it. And we were trying to figure out how to do something like shows. And then the pandemic kind of opened that door where it was like, okay, this is actually a need for these bands, or for bands that everything was kind of taken away from them. And it didn't, I don't know, did you expect to do it for 3 months like we did?
No, I really didn't. I think it kind of coincides with all of the unknowns at the time.
Right.
In terms of how long the pandemic was going to persist. Little did we know that, we would still be in the middle of it, and there would still be restrictions based off of your geography and your scenarios. But, we ended up doing quite a few shows, and I think statistically speaking, we got 350,000 views across the series, which was really solid.
I think I wrote down the numbers. It was like 21 bands. Maybe it was 22. Maybe I missed one. 350,000 views, reached almost 800,000 people, and 600 comments across bands that aren't signed. You know what I mean? And I also want to point out that when you first mentioned it, it was pretty early into the thing, and it was I remember you bringing up the idea we should do something, and obviously it's a bunch of bands started doing like their own shows and like whatnot, but you had the idea before anybody did. I think. I don't think. I think that we were,
man.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we didn't get to book Post Malone and his Nirvana tribute.
We weren't Pitchfork running virtual Pitch Fest or whatever the hell they were doing.
Yeah, sadly, I wasn't able to rent out a mansion for Post Malone to put on a show in with Travis Barker.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, we didn't have the capital. The Patreon program wasn't rolling yet.
But I do like that we had the idea, and it was actually spot on with exactly what bands were looking for, and that's where I think I'm like, and we've had a few ideas like that before where we talk about them and we're like, should we do this? But then all of a sudden it becomes really evident that we are in the right mindset. Like when it comes to working with bands and doing stuff, I think we have a good sense of how to kind of do this. And that's why I think that, that's why I'm really excited about like talking about this and having this brainstorming, is because it came a little natural in a way, and we got really good response. And I mean, the bands that we went through, I mean, how many of those bands do we have a good relationship with now?
Yeah, virtually all of them at this point.
Pretty much all of them.
And most of them, like, I listen to these bands. I've bought vinyl from these individuals. I've bought T-shirts. I've kept in contact with them, and I've checked their tour schedules to see when they make their way through my area. And I think like out of the entirety of Grunge Bible, like that's what really kind of winds my clock is being able to share music, but discover music, and I think we have the opportunity to be of service to people whose music has inspired us, similarly to the way that we would share Released by Pearl Jam back in 2016 when we first started this thing. But like Pearl Jam doesn't need our help, the Pearl Jam gains nothing by Grunge Bible posting them, whereas otherwise we have an opportunity, I could be inspired by something just the same, from a band who may not have the following. And especially now, it's a weird dichotomy if you think about it, because now people and music and discovery is more accessible than it's ever been, because it's there on your phone, which is always in your pocket, and it's a click away. But people don't give the time span of attention to these things, because there are thousands of things garnering for your attention at once. So to kind of be able to have that, like what we did during the shutdown shows, was like every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a 20-minute nice little set from a band, and you can sit down with a drink or with a snack and watch this and listen and see what you think, and just to kind of give that space to people who totally deserve it and have inspired us and have made our lives better, and kind of give them that space to have the opportunity to do that for other people. That's something that's really exciting to me. And if I could never post Soundgarden again, but I could still do this, like I'd still enjoy running the page.
Well, and like you said earlier, I mean, that the one, you got a message that somebody bought Circus Trees vinyl. I mean, that's like when someone says like, hey, we just bought like a T-shirt or something like that from us. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that the same serotonin release that we get when we see that, like, is the same as when these bands, I mean, that means a ton to them. So yeah. I love, I mean, I'm sure maybe, I don't know if Pearl Jam has that same release when a T-shirt is sold, but
yeah, maybe not. But and it is interesting because now, like, we've been doing this type of thing for a long time, and as I said earlier, it's kind of ebbed and flowed. But just in terms of the musical progression that we've been able to see a lot of these bands make, and the progression of success, and even just the development of friendships that we've had with some of these musicians. Like, I think the relationships are something that's always really important to me, and just to be able to give back to these people in these artists for, like I said, they add value to us, and what little value we can provide by having a space on the page. I totally love doing that.
Absolutely. I think that we're not going to be able to touch on every band that we interacted with, but I think that we maybe share a few anecdotes with a few of the bands that maybe have stuck out a little bit more, and kind of, they're there. The relationships are strong. I mean, one of my favorites, I think one of the favorite progressions I saw and this is the same. And I was going to say something about Discovery. Sometimes Discovery seems really forced nowadays, the way that the algorithms and ads work on the phone.
Advertisements and stuff, and through Instagram and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we've talked about this a lot. We're gonna try to make, we're not going to support a band if we really don't like them. I mean, I think that keeps the integrity of our opinions and integrity of the page. And that's what I think that's one of our strongest things as a page is
totally.
We really haven't wavered in the way we've done things or the way that, and that's like, you don't see that very much. So we just got to do our best to continue that. But, anyway, yeah, I think we talked about a few bands, and I was just say one of the ones that I really, that I think is really cool is going to be, June Swoon. And I 100%. Know that, I randomly, my old singer in the band had posted them on their Instagram. And like I said, it's just one of those people that I trust for, musical, references. And he posted, and I was like, I give it a listen. I listened to her. Awesome first album. And I was like, Chris, I remember sending it to, I was like, you need to listen to her. And I was like, and we were doing the whole like Shutdown series, and she wasn't like huge, but she was maybe like a little more put together. And I was
certainly
like,
not in the grunge element, but that doesn't matter because you can be inspired by anything. And I think that's another mission of mine through the page is to kind of, little by little, wean people into the headspace of, it doesn't have to be grunge and it doesn't have to have a fuzz pedal, for it to be good or for you to get something out of it.
Super fuzz, big muff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and anyway, yeah. So I remember I was like, listen, I was like, I messaged her and I was like, hey, we're doing these Shutdown series. All you need to do is send us a good video. And then you got into her, and then she took a very intentional approach to making this video for us.
Yes.
And it turned out, beautiful. And
it was such a good video. It was such a great performance. And Ethan, I'll tell you,
it did super well. I think it was our top.
I think so, and we were able to share her music with a lot of people because just as your friend had shared her music with you, you shared it with me, and that was during the year of 2020, her album, her debut album, which had come out the year prior, called "This Town Could Be Big Enough for the Both of Us." That was one of my life rafts of a record in 2020. I was going through some things and some themes that the album discussed, that seemed to directly parallel my life. And it's weird, how it's just like a weird kind of fate thing when you discover music, at just the right time. And she's such a fantastic songwriter and a really great person. And as like we said, we've been able to develop a friendship with her, and totally excited to see what she does, as an artist, but even, just as a person. I think it's so cool to be able to, support these people, as we said. And she's totally, one of my favorite musicians and people that we've been able to, discover and mm-hmm. Have on our page, have the, be privileged enough to have her on our page because, she's such a great artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just believe in her and her music, and it makes it easy to want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that we think that you're going to do great, and we just want to do whatever we can.
Absolutely. And another one for me that comes to mind.
Go for it.
Absolutely. And this is another, this band, they're alums of the Shutdown shows as well. Oh, yeah. And they're a 3-piece band from Brooklyn, New York, mm-hmm. called Hello Mary, which I believe I've had them as my song of the week before.
Last week, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. And I can't quite remember the origin story as to how we heard about them, whether we reached out to them or they reached out to us. But
I think they sent us. I think they sent us stuff, and I just saw it in the email.
They sent us a video of like a show that they had recorded, and I mean these ladies. They're 3 ladies in this band, nice 3-piece. They're loud, they're energetic, and it's really cool because at that time they'd pretty much just started making music, and now I think they just wrapped up a West Coast swing where they were touring in California, and they're coming back and playing shows in New York, and as they release more music, just to be able to see that progression, as musicians and as a unit of a band. Their song, they just released a single called Evicted, I believe last month. And, it's been one of my top listened to songs, according to Spotify, and Spotify doesn't lie, Ethan. They tabulate those numbers. So that's one that's really important to me. And, I was able to, thankfully, purchase some merch from them, and I represent them when I can. And, I tell people about them and share them when I can, because it's good music,
Yeah. And I was just thinking, I don't know if there's anybody. I don't think we've yet to see any of these bands in person, but it's going to happen.
Time is coming,
right? Yeah, you're probably going to see Hello Mary. I would love to see a number of these bands, and I don't think Hello Mary is going to come into Alabama, do the coastal thing, but there's so many opportunities that I think it's going to happen. Yeah. And that would be so cool to meet people and you could be like, I love your music, and they're gonna be like, thank you for the support, and be like, thank you, and then it's just gonna be great.
Yeah, we're not doing anything. It doesn't take any skill to do what we do. It takes a lot of skill and talent and artistry and creativity to do what they're doing. And even
the perseverance in 100%, trying to make it as a musician is very difficult.
Exactly. And then my mind is drawn to another band that we had on the Shutdown shows, which I think everybody knows who they are, and if you don't, you've definitely watched them on YouTube before, and that's Mixed Up Everything from Australia, the brothers who have been doing, grunge and 90s alternative covers on YouTube for probably about 5 or 6 years. They recorded a set for us, and that was super cool. And it's another band. I mean, they started out on YouTube making covers, and here they are now releasing original music, and to be able to just kind of have a pulse on that and see that process through is really, really cool too. And it's just another thing, to be able to share, music with people. And they're totally another band that comes to mind, and, a band that I'm excited and always jumping at the chance to support, because their music it's good, it's enjoyable, and people need to hear these things.
Yeah. One of the relationships that I think I've always just really appreciated is with the band. We shared him as King Bricks, but Rodney James. And he used to have Rodney James and the Riot, and I've had a few phone calls with him and afterwards, and man, the dude is just a light, and he's just so kind and so nice and so positive, and I got to share some of his music, which I thought I really liked his set. It was totally different, obviously not grunge, because he did a lot of like synth and kind of just like ambiance, and it was awesome. It was so good, and he's really talented, I think, and I love when I can interact with him and post about him and whatnot. So shout out to Rodney James for being a great guy, just a great person. So I hope he listens. I know he bought some gear.
Yeah, and he played some gigs wearing the merch. He had the hat and I think the crew neck on, which that's super cool. And then another one. This was one of our earlier collaborations or postings and supports. And we helped premiere a music video, and we gave away a guitar with her. And that's Bexley. And she's an act from Los Angeles. She was born in the Pacific Northwest.
Amanda,
It's based out of Los Angeles now, and she actually just played a set at Austin City Limits this past weekend. And since the time that we first got together with her to release some stuff and to share her music, she's released a bunch of music, a bunch of singles, and that's another really cool one, because at the time I think she had released one single. I think it was Run Rabbit Run in 2019, and then we kind of caught up with her sometime around then, right afterwards, before her first album, and just to kind of see that progression too. And I believe she was able to meet and get together with Chris Cafaro.
Well, I was gonna say, and
to do a lot of her photography through our page.
She interacted with, and I was about to bring it, because artists, not just musically. I think we've always enjoyed working with our drawlers and painters and stuff, and photographers. So yeah, Chris, that was really cool to how we started all working together a little bit. That was a good time.
It's cool to see the progression,
Yeah.
And we've been doing this.
I was gonna say, I think I'd be remorse if we didn't bring up one more, a duo that has just been
the Brothers in Blue.
The Brothers Cheese, man. Blue Cheese, two great guys from your neck of the woods, if I'm not mistaken.
David Graham and Chris Bokum.
Heck yeah, and they were, man, just absolute bangers. And I was so glad to have them.
3 chords and the truth, you know.
Yeah, Blue Cheese. We need to post them again. We need to see how they're doing. Yeah, they were so great.
Chris is in the Coast Guard now.
I know.
So I think they're on hiatus, but when the Cheese comes back, man, we'll
be ready.
It's going to be big. We'll be ready, and the Grunge Bible faithful will be ready. And, you know, kind of reminiscing on all of these bands that we've, you know, been lucky enough to partner with and share their music, you know, it's kind of got me thinking. And it's always hard to tell, because I feel like one of the most common things that we get on the page is, oh, you guys need to share new music, or there's no new music. Like, what do you guys want? Like we want to hear some things. So, you know, and I'm kind of interested because in a way, everyone who listens to the podcast, at least in my head, is kind of like the focus group, and they're like the people whose opinions I value the most in terms of the page and what they want. So I would love to hear from the listeners, you know, in an email or in a DM or whatever, you know, your opinions on us sharing new music, where you'd like us to source it from, you know, whether you like videos, what is it that you guys like? And because that's something I think as time moves forward, we want to do more of, and we want to, you know, be able to use the page in what ways we can to, you know, help people discover new music and, you know, give back to these people, as we said, that have, you know, given us a lot through their music. Because, I mean, let's face it, I mean, Pearl Jam, I mean, they're in their 50s, you know, I mean, they've been touring for 30 years. Like there's going to be a vacuum, you know, when a lot of these bands retire. I mean, you know, when the Stones get off the road, you know, and different things like that. I mean, and rock music is always going to be important, and it's always going to be something that's sought after. So, and just those bands that we talked about today, I never understand why people say that music sucks now, because it's out there and it is good, and these people are young and they're hungry to inspire, they're hungry to create, and they deserve to be heard. Yeah,
so I think moving forward, I think that we want to be a little bit more active with music discovery, and that's why we need your guys' opinions. So we want to serve it up the way that you guys want to see it. And I think Chris, we definitely want to start doing some interviews on here, and just to get the ball rolling. Yeah, to get the ball rolling. I think we have connections with a lot of these bands. So I think we're going to have some artists come in, and if you guys want to hear like origin stories, or if you guys want to hear, like, we probably, obviously we should be able to get their God's grace to be able to play some of their music on the podcast. Maybe when we could talk about it right here, that would be
absolutely
a whole different feel to the podcast, which I'd love. I think we're moving towards kind of, working with these artists a little bit more, and then we'll try to find a way, maybe something like the Shutdown shows. We could do that once a month and start small.
We could do a rock show, every other week or once a month or something like that. And, I definitely think there's an appetite for that. And there's certainly, as we've said, there's no shortage of great music out there. There's no shortage of great artists that, deserve to be heard, so that's something that is very exciting for me to do. So, as the focus group, if you guys if you're interested in that, we would love to hear, what your thoughts are, because I think that's something that we're really, really excited to do.
And then in 10 years, we'll have a record label.
Exactly. It's simple as that, So,
and then we'll have well,
that'll be that. We'll put Lollapalooza out of business, and I don't know what we'll call it, but whether
General
it's
Admission
Fest or something, General Admission. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to copyright those names now. Someone's gonna steal them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can copyright a generic phrase like General Admission, though. You might be able to.
We can try.
We can do whatever we want. Screw it.
So yeah, we're really excited. I think that I think it's because the music that we've gone and seen too. I think that just we've seen the openers and stuff, and I think we've been intrigued by the openers. I mean, we've talked about a few different openers from the shows we've seen already on the page. So, and that stuff is just exciting because, the smaller, the people that are trying to make it bring a different type of energy to the stage, which
Absolutely.
is always appreciated. So
yeah, and there's a great quote from Eddie Vedder that's exactly speaking to that, and I believe it was from 1991 or 1992, and it's somebody was asking him, and he was like, the biggest thing about going from the audience to the stage in 12 months is that how it feels to be down there, and what it feels like. And I mean, that's why, you look at a lot of these bands, their most prodigious eras were the beginning, when they first got up there. So, just to kind of catch that lightning in a bottle and present it to people, I think it's something that's really cool. And another thing I'm kind of thinking about, as we kind of wrap this discussion up, is that this is certainly a little bit of a different podcast episode. And it's kind of interesting, Ethan, because we have these conversations together all of the time about the page, about bands, about, what creative direction we want Grunge Bible Enterprises to move in. So it is interesting, and it's exciting to kind of invite people into that discussion to hear what they have to say about it. And I'm glad, we're having this discussion, on this space and on this platform for people to hear, because a lot of you all have great ideas. We've gotten a lot of podcast episode ideas from you all, and a lot of great music suggestions.
That's kind of the mantra, that is Grunge Bible. I think we want the kind of the open room, open door.
We're all fans, we're all on the same level in those terms, and we're all after the same things. We want to listen to good music and share in it and talk about it and just be a part of a community.
Yeah, so this conversation makes a ton of sense, and we have had a lot of conversations like this, and it's fun. So maybe we'll have some more like this. Maybe we'll kind of brainstorm. We'll build this machine. No, not machine. We'll build this airplane together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And to help us build that airplane, as always, as we spoke about in the beginning of the episode, please, if you're enjoying that podcast, or any of them for that matter that we've put out, check out the Patreon, check out some merch. We've had a very steady flow of people checking out the merchandise, as we said, and we would love to see your name there. And we'd love to see your name there. We'd love to see some Grunge Bible merch on you. And I think you'd love to see some Grunge Bible merch on you. Yeah, we would love to say your name.
Yeah, and you want us to notice? We were not gonna. That sounds bad. We want us to notice you, but we'll say your name. That sounds so weird, though.
Yeah, these two schmucks with a grunge podcast will say your name. That's a big consolation.
I double dog dare you to leave a comment, or I dare you to go and buy something. See if you can step up to the plate. Just subscribe. That's fine. I'll take that.
Absolutely.
Take the subscriber and run. That's the first step, Yeah. It's like a gateway. It's a gateway drug to being a Patreon supporter.
Exactly. It starts small, and
it's just like drywall.
Exactly. It's the gateway drug. Hard manual labor. And Ethan, it's a great conversation to have, because we've been doing this, we've been running this page for 5.5 years, and I think at this point, we'd be silly if we didn't try to take it in a direction where we could kind of honor the creativity of artists. And, if we're able to be creative in our own ways along the way, I think that's all the better. I think, I've certainly felt a desire, to kind of, create or, give back in a different way. So, to start that process is exciting.
Amen. That's awesome. I guess one more thank you, Drew. Thank our producer, Drew. He's doing a great job. And this podcast is brought to you by Drew McFadden, Hackio Deo. If you want to, it could be brought to you by, I don't know. We're working on sponsors too. I was going to say, if you want us to say your name with Drew, we can. But one last thing on the agenda, huh?
One last stop before the train pulls into the station for a good night's sleep.
We'll talk about our favorite songs of the week, our song of the week we've been doing. Look forward to this. Chris, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I would like to go first.
All right, sweet.
So I was traveling yesterday. I had 6 hours in a car. 4 hours in the air on an airplane, and then 3 additional hours in a layover. So I spent a lot of my waking hours yesterday traveling, and you can't travel without music, obviously. So yesterday I decided to bring along a book. I'm making my way through Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Once again, I read it back in the day, but
high school,
I didn't have the capacity, to appreciate it. I didn't even read it very thoroughly. So I'm thoroughly enjoying that. And when I read, I'm one of those people that I can listen to music while I read, and I can listen to music with lyrics. So I decided yesterday, this is an album that has gotten some play for me, in the past, and I believe I may have shared some of his work on the page before, but I went back to a Richie Havens live album from 1972 called Live at the Cellar Door and at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, and this is a great album. It's got a lot of covers on there. It's got some Crosby, Stills, and Nash covers. It's got some Dylan covers, some George Harrison, some of the band, but the one song that I listened to a few times yesterday and really appreciated it from this album was Richie Havens' cover of Fire and Rain by James Taylor. Now, Richie Havens had a really interesting way of playing the guitar. He used a lot of alternate tunings, and he didn't really use chords per se. He would just kind of like press his fingers down on different parts of the neck. So almost like a weird modified bar chord type scenario going on. But this one, his cover of Fire and Rain was really special. And I was really enjoying it yesterday. So I would totally, love to add that to the list of songs of the week. So yeah, Richie Havens' Fire and Rain cover is my song of the week. Fire
and Rain. Got it. Cover. Mm-hmm. Richie Havens. It's awesome. Yeah, I love a good travel with the earbuds in.
100%.
It just allows you to take on a movie aspect to your life, which is always fun. For my song, I'm going to pick I think I may have used one of his songs before, but this is a collaboration. But the song is titled Collapse, and it's by Jeff Rosenstock, Laura Stevenson, and J.E.R. And I may have used a song by Jeff before, but
that's
this song
okay. We invite repeat offenders.
Yeah, he's kind of got this, punk. He has a punk sound to him and has like a very, it's kind of like scream singing. But this song has like a big kind of reggae. I don't want to say reggae electronic, but it's very like it's got really cool sounds. It's really just a upbeat song, and it's just awesome. And it randomly came on, and I was like, oh shoot, I was like, that's really cool. And it must not have came up when I listened to him, because it was maybe one from one of the other artists' main songs. But yeah, stumbled upon it, and it's awesome. So it's called Collapse with an exclamation point, and it's all caps. And I'm gonna post it. I'll post it. I'll put it on there, and it's gonna be great. So
that's awesome. I'm looking forward to giving that a listen.
Yeah, 2 new songs to the list.
And a new podcast episode.
Yeah, and they're all good listens.
A lot of variety. This is exactly what we're talking about with new music and the shutdown shows and things in that realm, to expand our horizons. We've got a lot of different genres on that playlist, and I think it's great because every genre brings something to the table. And, I've certainly loved that process of branching out from, guitar-driven rock and roll sometimes to folk to, anything. Hip hop, R&B, what have you. And they all have different things. It's like making a good meal, different ingredients bring different sensations. Yeah. And I think it's important to experience the full array, that the music world has to offer. And I'm glad to hopefully be a segue, or be a window into that world for people, and, to share music that they might like. If I can do that through Grunge Bible, that's pretty good. That's enough for me,
Amen to that.
Absolutely. So well, Ethan, I think...
before we over-talk and overstay our welcome, I always shut it down.
Yeah, it's closing time now. We're gonna close up, lock up, close the doors, and turn out the lights.
I'm happy to have this conversation. It was great. I'm happy you guys are all here with us. Another week down, only a million more to go, and we're really excited to be doing this. So let's just keep going. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. staying healthy, staying happy, and enjoying your life, because that's what we got to do.
Yeah, that's right. Talk to your buddies, smile
Check
a little
in.
bit. Yep, do a weekly check-in and share some music. That's right. Nothing more you can ask for.
That's really all there is to it if you think about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care. Rock and roll. Love you all.
Rock and roll, everybody. We'll see you later.
I'm good if you're good.
All right.
I had a sober cig when I got back to the car last night.
Dude, I wanted one so badly this weekend, but there was nobody to bum them off of. I knew it wouldn't be appreciated, and
Right.
And it was just one of those. I wasn't gonna buy a pack. Like, I didn't need a sober pack. I just needed a solitary.
Was it AOC? Or
an occasional cigarette.
Yes.
Hey, I went in Rome, right?
An occasional cigarette,
dude. I will tell you, the year of 2021 has been the year of jonesing for a cig every now and then. My consumption is down, though. I haven't had one in quite a while. No, I had one in August. You do one every other month.
We found a brand new pack of cigs at the disc golf course. So I put it in my bag.
Gold.
So I had
absolutely. Yeah, you never know when you're going to need something like that.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna give it to my coworker though. He'll.
Oh yeah, dude. Those will have that for lunch. 9:30.
Yeah, he'll have that for lunch because I don't really want to have a pack on me.
No. It's just impulse control. Not to say that we couldn't, but you don't put yourself in those unnecessary situations. Well, Ethan Shalloway, are you ready to record a podcast?
Yeah, let's bang it out.
All right, let's bang this shit out and get on with our days. All right, the timer has begun. How now, brown cow? The arsonist has very oddly shaped feet.
Unique New York.
All right, you ready? I'll bring us in.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah. Well, Ethan, here we go. It's another week, and with all weeks, what the fuck does that even mean? I was trying. I knew. Does it ever happen to you when you're talking on this thing, and the thought you want to say, but your brain just goes to a filing cabinet and pulls out words that don't actually even make sense to convey the thing that you're trying to say. That's what just happened to me. I opened the wrong filing cabinet.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we got the wrong order at the restaurant. All right.
Yep. That's your fault for the ordering, not the cooks.
Yeah, the customer is always wrong. Fuck them.
I'm joking. All right.
It's just like what your dad said, though. If you go to a restaurant, you can't ask to get the tomato off. Like, you have to. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds like.
I think you told me that a long time ago. It's like you gotta, you can't, as is.
As is.
Nevertheless, it's very grunge, but